Following the debate between former president and convicted criminal Donald Trump and President Joe Biden, Democrats are divided over the idea of Biden staying in the race. Now, currently, Biden is the presumptive Democratic nominee, but he hasn't been confirmed yet. He could still be replaced at the Democratic convention only if he chose to withdraw. So now we have current and former Democratic congressmen that are calling on Biden to do just that. Now, it's not a majority, but look, the cracks are beginning to form. Okay, so let's start out with former Ohio Congressman, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, Tim Ryan. So he actually became one of the first major Democrats to call for Biden to step aside in favor of not him, because look, he had ran against Biden in the primary in 2020, but no, he's actually in favor of Kamala Harris. In fact, Ryan wrote in an op-ed in Newsweek that this was published on Monday night, which promoted the idea that Kamala Harris take over at the top of the ticket. Quote, "We have to rip the Band-Aid off. Too much is at stake. VP has significantly grown into her job. She will destroy Trump in debate, highlight choice issue, energize our base, bring back young voters, and give us generational change. It's time." He also argued that the need for Biden to step aside isn't just about the debate and a terrible performance. He said this election needs to be about generational change, something about which I have been shouting for more than a year now. So, look, there's more. Representative Lloyd Doggett, Texas, released a statement on Tuesday. He said that recognizing that, unlike Trump, President Biden's first commitment has always been to our country, not himself, I am hopeful that he will make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw. I respectfully call on him to do so. Too much is at stake to risk a Trump victory. President Biden saved our democracy by delivering us from Trump in 2020. He must not deliver us to Trump in 2024. So that was Lloyd Doggett. You have Representative Mike Quigley, who's a Democrat of Illinois. He argued that it's not just about the White House. He said this could have an effect down ballot. He told CNN that Biden needs to be honest with himself about his presidential run, because whatever decision he makes will impact House and Senate races for decades to come. So that is a good point. So look, this is serious, okay? I've never seen such a split among establishment Democrats before, okay? These are not wild-eyed leftists, all right? These are Democratic insiders, congressmen, all right, that are, again, fairly Democratic establishment. And speaking of establishment, you got James Carville. James Carville, who I admit I'm not the biggest fan of, okay? He's even saying, and he's been screaming it for a little while now, all right? We've got to replace Biden. And now even Bill Maher, someone else that I don't have a whole lot of respect for, at least anymore, also saying the same thing. Wow. Now, of course, look, I understand that you can't just replace Joe Biden. He has to step down. He has to release his delegates. And there is a process to do it, and it is a messy process. But I've already said, too, that that's moot because he says he's not doing it. In fact, his team has gone on the offensive to say, we're staying in it, baby. That had, of course, Vermont Senator Peter Welch hitting back, saying this, quote, "I really do criticize the campaign for a dismissive attitude towards the people who are raising questions for discussion. That's just facing the reality that we're in. But that's the discussion we have to have," he told Semaphore on Monday. It has to be from the top levels of the Biden campaign to precinct captains in the south side of Chicago. So it's Peter Welch. Then I'm going to go to Jake Tapper here, who also criticized the Biden team reaction, saying there is a pattern, a discernible pattern of Democratic officials seemingly trying to convince you, the public, to not believe what you saw and what you heard with your eyes and with your ears on Thursday night. Behind the scenes, make no mistake, most Democratic officials witnessed the same shocking spectacle that you did. So that's Tapper. And look, on that point of not just Democratic officials, but Americans, millions of Americans, 30 million, who ended up watching that debate, who didn't see Biden, by the way, afterwards at a rally looking much more energetic, okay, than he did at the debate. They didn't see that. what they saw was what they got at the debate. And that's kind of the problem. That's why you have polls where you have 72% of registered voters thinking that Biden does not have the mental or cognitive health capacity to serve as president of the United States. And so you have a lot of people asking that question, like, is he going to be okay? Is he going to last through the next 4 years? He's going to be 86 years old. That's, I mean, not a spring chicken, okay? And so that is a question that has to be answered one way or the other, okay? Either Biden has to go out and make the case and be able to show that, no, look, I had a bad day, it was a cold, it was a one-off, and actually do that by going on television and being strong, or we're going to have to go a different route, okay? So now, he says he's going to go on and give a post-debate interview on ABC News this week. So we're going to have to see how that one goes. It could go well, or it might not. I don't know. That said, voters are still going to have these legitimate concerns about Biden's age, his mental acuity, and his ability to beat Donald Trump until those questions are answered. Right now, the polling here, Biden versus Trump, is not good. In fact, there's a New Hampshire poll released on Monday, which was conducted following the debate, shows Donald Trump beating Biden in New Hampshire 44 to 42%. The last St. Anselm poll, conducted in December of 2023, showed Donald Trump trailing Biden by 10 points. So that's a huge swing. Biden actually won New Hampshire in the 2020 general election, getting 52.9% of the vote, while Trump picked up 45.5%. So you have that poll, which is not good. And then, of course, you also have this internal poll. This is an elite Biden team internal poll. Yikes. Trump, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Virginia, New Mexico. Oh, dear God. Those are also terrible polls. I don't know if it's a one-off. Again, this is open labs. They're pretty reliable, used by Democratic insiders for a lot of their insider polling. And so they're getting these polls. That's why their hair's on fire, okay? Now, what else is also really firing up the establishment are the party donors. Party donors are also having growing concerns about Joe Biden. In fact, in a Zoom call with over 500 donors, Jen O'Malley Dillon, the chair of Biden's 2024 campaign, ended up trying to quell this dissent by first admitting that the debate did not go exactly as we had hoped and exactly as the president had hoped, and said that the president knows he has to convince voters that he is fit to serve for another 4 years. While O'Malley Dillon cited Barack Obama's poor performance in the 2012 debate as an example of a candidate's ability to bounce back and win the race, she said Biden's team has more work to do because the president is 81. And then getting to another example of the donors, here we have Representative Nancy Pelosi going on MSNBC and telling Andrea Mitchell about a split response from these donors. Take a look.
I hear mixed. Some people are saying because Donald Trump is such an authoritarian, an autocrat, we have to win this election. This is not a normal election where you want to win. If you don't, you cooperate and do the best you can for the country and hope to win the next time. This is something that is undermining our democracy, and he must be stopped. He cannot be president. So therefore, people are very concerned. So it's split. Some are like, well, how can we subject the process to what might be possible? And others are, Joe's our guy. We love him. We trust him. He has vision, knowledge, judgment, integrity. The other guy has none of the above, and of course, great empathy for the people. So it is. It's going to be up to Joe Biden.
So of course, Nancy Pelosi goes in and says, "Well, you know, I'm pretty sure he's going to end up being our nominee anyway." So that said, the important takeaway from that is the donors are concerned. The donors are concerned the Democratic Party is concerned. So let's be fair about what's driving him, what, because having the people be concerned, the average Democratic voters, it didn't really bother them in 2020 because it's not like these concerns are new. It's not like the concerns about Biden's age or mental acuity weren't around in 2020. In fact, that was one thing that the progressives were arguing. Hey, we shouldn't nominate Biden just because, we're rightly concerned. Like, you have a lot of voters who are concerned about his age and whether or not he can beat Donald Trump. And of course, they were ignored. Now the donors are involved. They're concerned because of that debate. And they're like, oh no, this could be a problem.
Oh no!
So now, and by the way, this is not just about a single bad debate performance. Okay, I mean, getting back to the Obama example, right? Yeah, Obama had a bad debate, but voters didn't have to worry about Barack Obama potentially dying in office because of his age. He was a rather young guy at the time, and so Biden, not so much. And again, this is also not about Biden's job in office. Again, a lot of Democrats are like really happy with some of the things, or a lot of the things that the Biden administration has accomplished, and the pro-union stance and things like that. And so it's not about any of that. It's not. What it really is about is he going to be able to not only beat Donald Trump, but also last his entire term? And does he have the ability to, and the energy? Because let's be honest, a lot of our election system is not about, or I should say, our campaigns are not really about, hey, can we govern, right? Because look, Biden can govern, okay? What it is about, unfortunately, is do you have the energy? Now, Donald Trump has energy, even though he has pretty much lost his mind. Okay, I mean, if we're going to talk about mental acuity and being mentally fit for office, Donald Trump is obviously not at all mentally fit to be in office, all right? But he does have energy. And so he's a showman. He puts on a show. He looks like he's energized. And then there are people who are like, oh, yeah, well, of course, he's got the energy to serve. Yeah. Even though most of what he says, the vast majority are lies and complete and utter crap, and the ravings of a madman, he's got the energy to deliver them. Whereas Joe Biden, look, he's either doing pretty well, right, when it comes to energy at certain points of the day, and then he sundowns. And that's not good. Okay, that's not good at all. So that's the concern, right? I don't think, though, that said, I don't think that anybody is blind to the fact that replacing President Biden on the ticket would be a messy affair and could actually end up blowing up in all of our faces. I totally understand that. It is certainly possible. And even talking about this, it's so taboo because people immediately think back to the 1968 convention, which ended with complete and utter disaster for the Democratic Party. I understand that. There is the potential of the party imploding as a result of all of this, okay? And then, of course, there are the obvious questions of who would take over for Joe Biden. Nobody knows. There's a question of what happens with Kamala Harris, or are we going to do put Kamala Harris on top of the ticket? But wait, she also polls worse than Joe Biden. But then again, what about the black community, the black support, which is the backbone of the Democratic Party? How would they feel about Kamala Harris being replaced by someone like Gretchen Whitmer, who does poll a lot better? And what does that mean for the party? There's a lot of these very difficult questions that Democrats need to answer. And that's even if we're going to have a discussion about replacing President Biden, which a lot of people don't want to have. Okay? And so that's where we are in this conversation. Look, progressives, once again, getting back to 2020, we're like, I don't know about nominating Biden. It's not our first choice. Now, that said, understand that if Joe Biden is on the ticket, yeah, I'll vote for him. Over Donald Trump, 100%. I'd vote for Joe Biden's rotting corpse, okay, over Donald Trump any day. So let's not make a mistake and say that asking for a better choice or a different choice, even knowing all the potential pitfalls, is just out of a desire to help Donald Trump win the election. No, that's ridiculous. It's the last thing we want to happen, and that's the whole reason why people are bringing this up. Like, oh God, he might not defeat Donald Trump, and then we'll get Project 2025 and all the horrible crap that comes along with it. That's the thing we want to avoid. That's the situation we want to avoid. But what it comes down to now is either we risk running Biden and losing to Donald Trump because people are concerned about Biden's age and his ability to do the job, or invite massive chaos and an intra-party split and still losing to Donald Trump as a result of that. And so both situations are not good. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.